is idolatry? When I make an image of anything in heaven, on earth, or in the sea, that I take as a god or a goddess, I'm saying this is a god, this is a goddess, alongside of or in place of Yahweh, and I'm looking to that one as my god or goddess that I depend on, that's idolatry. This is why when the Israelites started worshiping the idols of the false gods Baal and Asherah, and then they started worshiping the bronze serpent with the gods and goddesses, making the bronze serpent into a god, that's when the bronze serpent was destroyed. 2 Kings 18, verse 1 and 4. Notice when the bronze serpent was destroyed. In the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, the king of Israel, Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, became king. Watch. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Abi, daughter of Zechariah. He did what was right in the sight of the Lord. Notice, he did what made God happy. In God's sight, you can do things that are right in the sight of the world and get God angry. Or you can do things that are right in God's sight and have the world hate you. According to everything that David, his father, did not watch. He removed the high places. Now, why the high places? Because in the high places, the Israelites would build altars to false gods and goddesses and build idols to false gods and goddesses like Baal and Astarte or Ishtar, Asherah, and worship them. Notice when the bronze serpent is destroyed, he removed the high places, broke down the sacred pillars. Some believe these are phallic symbols representing male and female organs. Cut down the Asherah, that was a false goddess, the wife of El. Crushed the bronze serpent that Moses had made. Now he destroyed the bronze serpent. Why? For until those days, the children of Israel had made offerings to it. They called it Nehushtan. Do you see when the bronze serpent became an idol? When it was combined with idols of gods and goddesses and phallic symbols that the Israelites started worshiping as gods and goddesses alongside of Yahweh. Then it became an idol because it was taken as a divinity and it had to be destroyed. So idolatry is when you make an image of a thing that you view as a god or goddess, that you belong to, that you answer to, that you look to for salvation and for your daily needs. That's idolatry. Idolatry is not having an icon image of a creature that you know is a creature, that you don't see as a god or goddess, that you don't worship as a god or goddess. That is not idolatry. Last time I checked, I'm not aware of any Orthodox or Catholic that thinks Mary is a goddess and they worship her as a goddess. Last time I checked, I don't recall any Orthodox or Catholic that thinks the icon of Peter is an icon of a god that they worship as a god and look to as a god. It is no more idolatrous for you to have an image of the Holy Mother that you kiss, showing your love for her as a creature created by Jesus, owned by Jesus, than you take a picture of your dead mother and kiss it. It is no more idolatrous to kiss an icon of John the Baptist or of Ignatius or Polycarp, whoever, Paul, because you acknowledge them as creatures created by God, filled with the Spirit, used mightily by God, whom God exalted because they love Jesus so much, than having a picture of your daughter or your son or your brother or your father and kissing that picture because of how near and dear they are to your heart. And let me show you the hypocrisy of Protestants. Do you have children that you allow to watch cartoons of biblical stories? If you're a Protestant, do you have children that you allow to watch cartoons of biblical figures, whether Jesus or Abraham? Have you watched and do you watch movies played by actors depicting Jesus, Mary, the apostles, Moses, and Abraham? Yes or no? Now I'm going to turn your argument against you. Number one, why are you watching and why are your kids watching or why are your kids reading children Bibles with images, drawings of Jesus, Mary, the prophets, when we don't know what they look like? That's your argument, isn't it? Well, we don't know what they look like. Well, you don't know what they look like. So then how dare you let them watch cartoons? You don't know what Jesus looks like. You don't know what Mary looks like. How dare you watch movies where actors depict Jesus or Mary or Peter or Moses? You don't know what they look like. See, you're being inconsistent. That was my point. You don't see your hypocrisy and your inconsistency. You don't know, you don't need to know what they look like, as long as you know that this image represents Jesus. In other words, oh, that cartoon, that's supposed to be Jesus. As long as the image invokes in your heart and mind Jesus, the Lord will not condemn you. So it's okay for you to have them depict the story using images when you don't know who Jesus is, but it's not okay for a pre-literate society. Many people are uneducated, illiterate, could not read or write, have no televisions, no Netflix, but it's not okay for them to have icons and statues as visual reminders of the host of heaven and the Godhead. That's not okay. You see your inconsistency, your dishonesty, your deception? Do you know what Jesus is called in Colossians 1:15? Yeah, especially those of you in Christmas. How many of you have an image of the nativity scene at your church, in your church, on your lawn, or in your home? An image of the nativity scene. Do you know what Jesus is called in Greek? You know what he's called? He is the icon of the invisible God. Do you know what the Greek word icon is? Icon. In your Greek New Testament, Jesus is called the icon, the visible representation of the invisible God. He's called an icon because the Greek word is icon, where we get icon, an image. If God was against images, why did he have Jesus become flesh in order to become the physical image of the invisible God? Let me show you the word icon. Jesus is the icon, where we get the word icon. Here it is. Let me show you the word icon. You don't even need to read Greek. You see it? You see the word? Do you see it? Icon. E-I-K-O-N in transliteration. That's the word icon. Colossians 1:15. He is the icon and the invisible God. If God was against statues and icons, why did Jesus become flesh in order to become the physical icon of God? There's a link. All right. Let me show you now the word icon in the lexicon. 1 second. Watch here. Os estin icon tu theou. Tu aoratu. Man, that word's hard for me to say. Oh, you Greeks, dude. Here it is. Here's what it means. An image, a statue. That's what the Greek word means. A statue, an image, representation. Here it is. An image, a statue. Jesus is the living statue, icon of the invisible God.